Hey, what's up guys, Riv here. So currently a lot of people, including artists, are very upset at Adobe due to some changes to their terms of service. In a time where a lot of people are getting increasingly fed up with software that is either being required or pushing monthly subscription fees onto customers, Adobe basically said, I see that everyone's upset, let's make you a lot more upset with this terrible move right here. So, Photoshop's new terms of service require users to grant Adobe access to their active projects for content moderation and other purposes. This is really bad. This is like a Niji Sanji any color level of PR move right now. This is absolutely terrible. To sum up what we're going to read in a second, basically, Adobe is going to force you to accept these new terms that basically allow them to do whatever they want with your content. Either look at it as much as they please or feed it into AI or even use it for their own financial gain. They pretty much gain full access to everything you're working on. And here's the updated terms of use, and it's important to notice if you are an Adobe customer, let's say you have Photoshop, right? If you log into your account since this update to their terms of service, you have to accept these terms or you lose access to your account. So you're pretty much put in a position where either you lose access to your entire account and all your files because you won't agree to these new terms, or you accept the new terms and basically allow Adobe to do whatever they want with your content. It's a really terrible situation for people who are customers of Photoshop, for example. So when it comes to the updated terms of use, there's only two policies that really matter, and it's sections 2.2 and 4.1. So let's start with 2.2. It says this: our access to your content. We may access, view, or listen to your content through both automated and manual methods, but only in limited ways as permitted by law. So basically they can do anything they want as long as it's not strictly illegal. Yeah, that will make you feel really safe and rest easy, guys. Don't worry. They're only going to look at your content and use it just enough to the point where it's not illegal. That's all you got to worry about. But down here, it says this: our automated systems may analyze your content and Creative Cloud customer fonts using techniques such as machine learning in order to improve our services and software and the user experience. Blah, 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 blah. So they're doing you a favor, guys. They're looking at your content to make your experience better. So you can see this is basically the AI section, right? They are going to take all of your content and feed it into AI programs. I think that's not too shocking, but obviously a lot of people have an issue with that. And really, no one co-opted this. This is something that they're now pushing on to people who use Photoshop, for example. And it gets even worse because if you really think about what they're doing, a lot of people have compared this to spyware. They're essentially spying on you for content regulation, like whatever that means, right? So they're basically doing whatever they want with your content. They can just peek in and see what you're doing whenever they want because it's a part of this new term that you're going to agree with. Now, this next section, 4.1, is the one that got people really upset, as in what they're going to do with your content, the limits of what they can actually do. And I'll let this person from TikTok explain it because not only are these new terms ridiculous, but also it might violate NDAs of customers who are working under certain conditions.
I literally just opened Photoshop and I noticed that they completely lock you out of the application unless you accept the new terms of use, which include clarification that we may access your content through both automated and manual methods, such as for content review. And I was like, that seems super weird. Let's go look at the terms of use, where I found that they have this new section called licenses to your content solely for the purposes of operating or improving the services and software. You grant us a non-exclusive, worldwide, royalty-free, sub-licensable license to use, reproduce, publicly display, distribute, modify, create derivative works based on publicly perform and translate the content. For example, we may sub-license our right to the content to our service providers or to other users to allow services and software to operate as intended. So the first thing I did obviously was hit up Twitter, and people are pissed about that. This guy works on movies with big clients that have NDAs. A lot of creative people have NDAs. Like, you can't just go into people's cloud documents and do whatever you want with their documents. Like, what are we even talking about here?
So obviously these terms are ridiculous, but also the point about the NDAs is really interesting because I think a lot of people who work in the entertainment industry, for example, use something like Photoshop. So if you're on a movie set or something like that, and you're working for a big client and you're using Photoshop, you're probably under an NDA in terms of the content you're making. So if Adobe has these terms and you agree to them, you might breach your NDA as a result. And also for Adobe, this might be a big headache because these big clients and these very influential people are going to be pretty upset when they find out that the artist they hired either is going to lose all their files, or the artist is going to have to break their NDA in order to keep working on their projects. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think the thing that really offends people the most is the fact that you have to agree to these terms or you lose your account. That is ridiculous. People are being strong-armed into agreeing to these updated terms, and that is not fair. Now, moving forward, a lot of people have been responding quite angrily to this situation, and I think this one is the funniest response. So this person says this: I don't use Adobe's Creative Cloud because I like keeping my files locally, but seeing how they think they can use anything you upload there for AI training purposes, I'm filling up my entire 20 gigabyte storage with random nightshade poisoned images. I encourage others to do the same, which is very funny, basically poisoning the well and jamming up these AI programs that are trying to leech off of these users' content. But a lot of people are just straight up done with Adobe, right? Like they're upset. This user says this: I just canceled my Adobe license after many years as a customer. The new terms give Adobe worldwide royalty-free license to reproduce, display, distribute, or do whatever they want with any content I produce using their software. This is beyond insane. No creator in their right mind can accept this. You pay a huge monthly subscription, and they want to own your content and your entire business as well. Going to have to learn some new tools, which sucks, by the way. A lot of people, whether you're an artist or a content creator, you get comfortable using software, right? It takes some time to learn how to do things, and you get very set in your way. So when you have to switch to a completely different software, it's a big adjustment, and it's really annoying for people. So like the fact that they have to give up some of these Adobe products to avoid this is really unfair and frustrating. But you would see some people running defense for Adobe, including people who work with Adobe. You can see this Scott Belsky individual, we'll talk about him in a second. He responds to that previous post saying this: every cloud service requires a license solely for the purpose of operating. This has been out there for over a decade, but our summary language didn't clarify. We posted a clarification here since this suddenly escalated. And the user would respond by saying this: I give precisely 0 Fs about Adobe's clarifications or blog posts. You force people to sign new terms. Legally, they're the only thing that matters. These terms state black on white that you'll now have an irrevocable license to use my content for pretty much any purpose you want. One way to avoid needing a clarification or customer outrage is by not trying to screw your customers over. Pretending that this wasn't intentional only makes Adobe and its employees look even more pathetic. Absolutely based. He roasted this guy. And who is this guy? Well, Scott, of course, is someone who works at Adobe high up. And of course, they have a lot of interest in Adobe's PR right now because they look really, really bad. But Scott wouldn't be the only Adobe person running defense for them. We would also see this individual responding to this post where it claims that Adobe is borderline spyware at this point, and it's forcing Photoshop and Substance 3D users to provide the company unlimited access to their projects, where this person at Adobe says this: we are not accessing or reading Substance users' projects in any way, shape, or form, nor are we planning to or have any means to do it in the first place. I fail to see the point of doing so, and every serious company in the industry would drop us immediately if that was the case. He's trying to gaslight you right to your face. He's not only saying this isn't happening, even though they just said it's happening in their own updated terms of service, he's saying we don't even know how to do that. It's ridiculous. It's multiple layers of gaslighting. And who's this? Well, he is the product director at Substance 3D for Adobe. So obviously he has an interest in this as well. And people like Savvy here would point out some very good points, right? So you have someone who's the product director at Substance coming out and saying things that are a direct contradiction to what Adobe is trying to claim. And also, the important question still hasn't been answered. What is content review in this situation? What does content review really mean? Because it seems like it gives Adobe and any of their products the full gambit of your content. They can search for whatever reason to improve the systems and improve the user experience, which again pretty much means they can do anything they want. Now, facing an immense level of backlash because of these updated terms, Adobe made about a dozen tweet long thread trying to explain everything going on, ending it with this saying, read more on our blog post here, where they got hit with a community note saying this: the prominent point of contention is section 4.2, which is not addressed in this response. Section 4.2 is titled licenses to your content. In this entire thread, like I said, a dozen plus tweets long, they never address section 4.2. The main reason everyone is upset, they don't even address it whatsoever. They act like it doesn't even exist. And again, they're trying to gaslight you and push past this entire issue because they think you're gullible enough to not call anything out and to just accept what is going on. Well, a lot of people aren't accepting what's going on, and they're seeing the wicked deeds of Adobe here, okay? Nobody likes this stuff, and their stock has already been dropping for the last couple of months, but you can see the big drop off right around the time that these updated terms were announced. A lot of people are really upset about this, and rightfully so. These products are already ridiculous. You shouldn't have to pay monthly subscription costs for software that you should just outright own. That's already the biggest scam in the universe, but people are using it because they need the software, and then you lay this crap on top of it, and obviously people are going to be upset and they're going to look for other alternatives to your products. But for now, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.